There are growing concerns about how Alabamians are handling the reopening of the state during the coronavirus pandemic. A top infectious disease doctor is sounding the alarm, grading the public an F and following the advice from health experts. UAB's Dr. Michael Sag joining us this morning to talk about that failing grade and how we can do better. Dr. Sag, good to see you, sir.
Good to see you, Art.
Well, let's talk about this grade you gave the public, Dr. Sag. Why the failing mark? What are Alabamians doing wrong?
Well, let's just go out right now. If we were to go to any kind of venue, most people are not wearing masks. Most people are not keeping their distance from one another. And I'm not necessarily trying to blame any particular individual, but I think people are suffering from a lack of consistent messaging and what I would call the politicalization of this epidemic. It seems like everything's being viewed through a political lens. And what that means is that if somebody's wearing a mask, they'll say, oh, I think he's or she's standing up for one or the other political positions, and we need to strip that away. We're dealing with a deadly pandemic, and we need to be in this together, doing the things to protect each other.
Well, Dr. Sag, you've already given the public that F. Do you have any concerns with colleges and schools returning this fall?
Well, a lot of us at UAB and throughout the state health department are working with colleges and universities right now to create a testing capacity such that every student who's coming back to campus will be able to be tested so we can get a sense of how much penetration there's been of the virus into the returning student community and for the faculty and staff, and then ongoing so that we can do surveillance testing. We don't know exactly how many students will be infected on return to campus, and so we're working very hard right now to try to pull that together so we have testing capacity for all students at all higher education institutions.
And that's good to hear, Dr. Sag. What about the return of sports? Your friend Dr. Fauci says he's raising some concerns about football and other sports this fall. Will it happen? Should it happen?
I think there's going to surely be an old college try to get people on the field to play, that's for sure. I don't know how it's going to play out right now, to be honest with you. I know that there will be practices that are already ongoing. I think everyone intends to get on the field. How it's going to look, I don't know. And a lot of that's going to be dependent on how many students, athletes are testing positive at any moment in time. There are rumors that I can't fully substantiate that most of the campuses where football is returned, we're seeing as high as 4 to 5% of the student athletes testing positive on return. We'll learn more about that as we test the rest of the campus coming back in August. But what I'm hopeful for is that we can bring it under control through mitigation, mask wearing on campus, and keeping both students, faculty, and staff safe as we re-enter.
We got to have hope there. About 30 seconds left here, Dr. Sag. What do you think about the public getting back in restaurants and shopping again? Are there risks to that?
Sure, there's risk, and I don't want to see anybody have to stay at home. We can't do that forever, obviously. So what can we do? When we go out, look around. If there's not many people wearing a mask in a venue that you're going into, I'd try to stay away from that. A restaurant might be the exception if you're keeping distance at the tables. Make sure the staff are wearing a mask. But if you can wear a mask yourself, and then what you're saying when you wear a mask is, I don't want to infect somebody else in case I have the virus.
Dr. Sag, you are a wealth of knowledge. Always good speaking with you. Be safe, sir.
You too, Art.
All right. Thanks a lot.